Hello and welcome back to the world of the spirit consciousness. This is the book study session on the Etheric Double by Arthur Powell. We are currently in module 4, which deals with chapters 13, 14, 21, and part of chapter 22. In chapter 13, we had discussed the Kundalini. Now we are discussing chapter 14, which covers the atomic web. The module outlined the Kundalini, the atomic web, the work of Dr. Walter Kilner, and nature spirits. So this video session, we are discussing on the atomic web. So the outline is introduction and appearance, function, effects of damage to the atomic web, causes of damage to the atomic web. Introduction and appearance. So as we know, chakras in the astral body and the etheric body usually correspond to each other and are closely connected. But between these two sets of chakras is a web which also interpenetrates the two layers of chakras. Made up of a single layer of physical atoms which are compact and minutely intertwined. This web can be permeated only with a special type of prana which comes from the astral plane and goes to the physical plane. So while this web easily allows this special prana to go through, it barricades all other types of atomic matter which cannot be used by both the planes. So I'll just do a quick diagram over here. So let's say this is the etheric force center and this is the astral force center. So here you have a single layer of physical atoms which are very compressed and close to each other. So from here, this special type of prana can pass through, and so this is permeated by a special form of vital force. The functions of atomic web, it acts like a shield. So in ordinary individuals, it prevents the untimely and hence the dangerous opening of communication between the astral and physical planes. So it disables the memory of sleep life from the physical consciousness. Sometimes the returning astral body leaves a slight impact on the etheric double and the physical consciousness. So this produces vague and short-lived memory of the astral experience. So when the physical brain tries to recollect the astral experience, the physical brain sends vibrations that overpower the subtle astral vibrations. So this makes the dream increasingly difficult to recall. And it is responsible for the brief unconsciousness which always happens at death. In advanced souls, so an ordinary man cannot normally use either the physical or the astral atomic matter. Hence, there is no willful communication between the astral and physical planes. So as he purifies his vehicles, he is able to function in the atomic matter and can carry his consciousness directly from one plane to another. Here, the atomic web is maintained along with its functionality, permitting the consciousness to pass from one plane to another and preventing contact with the avoidable lower planes. So the effects of damage to the atomic web. So it leads to reception of all sorts of astral experiences into the physical consciousness. So this could result into harm for the individual. The individual becomes open to receiving unwanted astral entities. They could bring with them certain forces which an ordinary person is incapable of handling and is not prepared to face. In some cases, it is also possible that the person is overpowered and obsessed by an astral being who wants to control that person's vehicle. The causes of damage. So the damage to the atomic web can occur through various ways. Any emotional shock, powerful negative emotions which can tear apart the intricate web, for example, a horrifying fright or a sudden burst of anger. So a process called setting for development by the spiritualists. So this can cause considerable harm to the atomic shield. So some legal and illegal drugs, including tobacco and alcohol, so they consist of substances that volatilizes on breaking up, and some of this passes on from the physical to the astral state. So even tea and coffee contain small amount of materials that damage the atomic shield and can cause serious harm if consumed too often over a longer period. So prolonged usage of above leads to substances being poured into the direction opposite to where they are originally meant to go. So the continuity and repetition of the above practices can eventually destroy the fragile web. So there are two types of damage, which depends on the type of individual and the constitution of his etheric and astral bodies. So type 1, which leads to insanity, hallucination, obsession, etc., which however is little less common. So substances like drugs, alcohol, etc., causes the web or shield to literally burn and get destroyed because of the volatile materials flowing into the web. So this forms one type of damage and is less common. Burning away the shield causes an individual to become insane, obsessed, and also develop delirium tremens. Type 2, which leads to the numbing of higher feelings and qualities and becoming very materialistic, which obviously you would have guessed is a lot more common. So the atomic shield hardens and slowly causes it to start crushing, halting the smooth functioning of the web. The shield becomes too hard to allow the easy flow of particles between the astral and physical plane and eventually permits only a very small amount to pass. Hence, the individual becomes devoid of certain sensations and good qualities and are often inclined towards cruelty, animal-like behavior, greediness, and a general loss of self-control. For instance, people who heavily indulge in narcotics or tobacco are often known to continue indulging in the same in spite of being aware of the discomfort that it causes to their neighbors. And their sensitivity also weakens to that extent. So there is a word of caution to the students of occult. From here, it is highly recommended to wait for psychic powers to develop naturally instead of trying to force it. Since as we evolve, the psychic powers will evolve with us at the right time. So it is the only secure way to achieve the merits of psychic powers without running the risk of dangerous influences. So the next video is going to cover the work of Dr. Walter Kilner. It's a very interesting module that Dr. Walter Kilner had conducted a series of experiments using screens, and he says it is not at all a clairvoyant sight but physical experiments by which he has observed the aura of human beings. So stay tuned for that very interesting video.